episode of The Web Show, and a very special one because it features an absolute legend in the artist Andy Warhol. He had his exhibition on up in Brisbane for the last couple of months, and it takes about an hour and 20 minutes maybe to get from the Gold Coast to Brisbane on the train. But that's what you find when you head north. It's a beautiful city, and always fun to be around museums and stuff like that. I need to do a bit more. But I was going to meet up with Rod Welford, the Minister for Arts and Education, and have a look around and show a bit of stuff on Andy, but you never know what you're going to see at museums. Yeah, it's something you don't see every day, a couple of giant whales hanging from the ceiling or a glider plane, but I guess that's what you get at museums. But not that I know, I just don't go to enough. I've got to start getting some culture in my life. But I can appreciate the beautiful buildings, and I can certainly appreciate the work and the life story of this guy. He's just an absolute inspiration. For so many reasons really, but just his genius in creating the simple things. In my mind, he just made the simple beautiful. And yeah, so we're outside. I'm looking at the plaque of the building, the Honourable Rod Welford MP, and as soon as I film that, I turn around and there he is, the man himself. So we headed on inside and got the camera out and started our little feature on the amazing Andy Warhol.
This is the new Gallery of Modern Art here in Brisbane, part of a $300 million Millennium Art project, bringing the very best of art here to the hub of arts and culture in Australia, Brisbane. Not Sydney anymore, it's now Brisbane.
Well, it's a pretty impressive building, so what are we looking at today? Because I'm pretty excited about Andy Warhol.
Well, we've just walked into the Gallery of Modern Art, which is currently showing, has been since December, the exclusive Andy Warhol exhibition. The only time the Andy Warhol exhibition has ever been taken outside of the Warhol Museum in Pittsburgh in the US.
Wow.
And exclusively to Brisbane. Nowhere else in Australia, nowhere else in the world has ever seen an exhibition of Andy Warhol's art of this scale.
And how would you describe Andy and his genius from your point of view?
Well, he's extraordinary. He was the late 20th century pop artist extraordinaire, and we've had more than 170,000 people visit this exhibition since it opened in December, and recently the curator of the exhibition from Pittsburgh has agreed to extend the opening of this exhibition for another 2 weeks, beyond the 30th of March. But it is just extraordinary, and as you can see from the crowds here, this is not just an amazing event for Brisbane here in Australia, but it's captured the imagination of people from all over the country and internationally. New Zealanders are coming here. A third of all visitors to this exhibition have been from outside of Queensland.
Wow, that's amazing. Right, well, let's have a look around. Yeah, so right from the get-go, it was pretty awesome just being there because, I mean, every piece has just so much colour and sort of vibrancy to it. And even his little sayings, like, I like boring things. I mean, they're just sort of catch cries all over the place. And this guy was just an absolute true genius, just always creating art, and it was amazing to be walking around, and pretty fun to be walking around with Rod too. He had some cool things to say.
Many people who haven't heard of Andy Warhol, perhaps have heard of him but didn't know what his art was about, will recognise this. This was his trademark, the Campbell's soup image.
So he was kind of like an artist that just took simplicity.
He originally started out as a commercial artist, as a graphic artist for advertising. But what he did was he took common day products just like Campbell's soup and turned it into an art form.
Yeah.
And he did that not just with images like this, but with people. Have a look at this.
So it was cool checking out some of Andy's most famous works, especially the portraits of Marilyn Monroe with the different colours there, and people like Mick Jagger. And just the simplicity in changing the colours, but it makes it so amazing to look at. Of course, they're reprinted in homes all around the world, but it was great to see all the different people from around there, especially kids checking it out as well. And the famous lines, everyone will be famous for 15 minutes, and I like that one there, every day's a new day. Very cool. But we made our way around the corner to check out some of the other pieces of work, and especially this big sucker that Rod's about to talk about. So how does it make you feel to know that this is in Queensland, to know that these people are seeing this stuff, because this is like world famous stuff hanging on the wall?
It's very exciting. Just here, for example, we have the largest piece of Warhol art ever created. No one ever believed that you could ever carry this art anywhere other than out of Pittsburgh. And here it is in the Gallery of Modern Art.
Yeah, so that big sucker is very impressive, and I'm pretty impressed by how they actually got that to Australia. It's just amazing. But once again, some of the simplicity of his art, and of course, not only being an artist and a photographer and a filmmaker, but he also managed the band, the Velvet Underground, who have legendary status in the music industry with Brian Eno and such, and Lou Reed. It's just incredible. So Andy had an amazing career, and it was fun to walk around and get a little glimpse of it, and even for the kids, there was something there for them to take in.
Andy Warhol for Kids is modelled on the Silver Factory, which was the old converted garage that Andy Warhol and his fellow artists devised a lot of their own innovative art in. What we've done here, exclusively in Queensland, created by our own young gallery staff, is create an exhibition of Andy Warhol's activities and educational experiences for children.
This is where you come on your lunch breaks and hang out?
Well, it's a place where you learn about Andy Warhol and you learn about art.
Yeah.
And the kids just love it. You've just seen the pillows.
Yeah.
They are based on the Silver Factory, and we'll go downstairs in a moment and have a look at a replica model of the factory itself.
Awesome.
Here you see an exhibition wall of art from young children who visited the gallery and who've done their own piece of Warhol art based on the alphabet. And this was it. This is where he actually worked and engaged with other artists, the Silver Factory.
So I can only imagine how much fun it would have been back in New York City when it was rocking and Andy was at the top of his game and hanging out at the Silver Factory. It just would have been absolutely awesome. But of course, his famous line is everybody gets their 15 minutes of fame, and they've got a little thing there at the exhibition where you get your 15 seconds. So I thought it'd be pretty fun if the minister and I sat down and had our little 15 seconds, and so we did. And then we got to see ourselves on the big screen, and there it is, our little moment enshrined at the Andy Warhol exhibition at the museum. So it was pretty cool there. But speaking of cool stuff, especially for the kids, here's another little thing they get to do at something like this.
This educational exhibit, modelled on what young people are familiar with, namely a computer screen, a touch screen, is where they can learn all about Andy Warhol.
It's amazing.
This is iconic Warhol, as you can imagine, and this is the centrepiece of the children's exhibition here at the Gallery of Modern Art. Warhol for kids, they love it.
Yeah, so there you go, a quick glimpse of one of the true greats in the art world, and that is Andy Warhol, just an absolute legend and an inspiration on so many levels. And a big thank you to Rod Welford for showing us around too. It was really cool. Of course, the exhibit is about to wrap up this weekend. It was extended. But you can check out warhol.org to find out all the information about Andy. Of course, some of the great lines like that one right there. He's a legend, that is for sure. The one and only Andy Warhol, and there's the one and only Rod Welford. So thanks for checking out the show. Hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, hi. How good is this?
Yeah.
We've just seen the Andy Warhol exhibition exclusively here in Brisbane, Queensland and Australia.
Yep.
Never been anywhere else in the world. It's been great to be able to tell you about this, but if you really want to know more about arts and culture in Queensland, the guy who really ought to tell you about it is Damien Rossi. He's on Great South East Sunday night on the 7 Network here in Queensland in Brisbane. He's our regular culture vulture and knows all about the arts and the film industry. So talk to Damien and talk to the 7 Network and make sure they get him on more often.
Really? How much is he paying you for that plug, eh? A few beers?
He deserves it.
Put it on the line, come on down.